Be a vacation themed show. I'm going to be telling ghost stories around the campfire. I'll wait for some people to join us and then we'll get started. Good evening, Steelers. It is a nice fire. Well, that's interesting. We don't get many helicopters in this area. Not much. I'm recuperating from yesterday's long stream, and I just was doing work here at the lake. And today I also acquired 2 new friends, which I'll introduce soon. Good evening, Cam. Did you see the lake view? What's up, Everett? So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I do all kinds of streams. Jason's right behind you. So I'll get started in just a couple more minutes. But for now, enjoy the peace, quiet, and the fire. What's up, Salway? What's up, Late Night Vibes? What's up, Eve's 8? What up, Trooper? Are you guys ready to meet the new friend I acquired today? I actually found 2 of them. Oh, hold on, let me get a light. I spent exactly $3. This was $2. Yeah, this was $2. And I think it's creepy on its own. And this is my new favorite. This one was $1. Yes, they are cool. We went live 9 minutes and 52 seconds ago. All right, so this, can everybody see this? This is where we are right now. I was just taking pictures of the fire, right? Pictures, and these were all like pretty consecutive. It was kind of windy, right? And look, oops, damn it. Look at that. That guy showed up in the photo. And that was taken right here. There was nobody there with me. No, my friend, that's not a hand. For generations, people have lived and died on this lake. So weird things always happen to me. Not all the time, but I hope that this is where I would live. Usually where I do the live streams is where I live primarily. But this is where we're at live, yes. Yep. Welcome to Camp Crystal Lake. But anyway, so I was taking pictures of the fire, and that guy showed up in the fire. And then there was a meeting on the lake, because this is a private lake, and we discuss like upcoming road payments and stuff like that, who's going to take care of the road. And during the meeting, somebody started saying that their grandkids were sitting around a fire, and these faces appeared in the fire. And so I thought it was pretty amazing that I also got pictures of people in, or faces in the fire. I think if I have to look at slasher movies, Jason Voorhees has always been one of my favorites. So naturally, I hope that I can make that noise well. Yeah, this camera's flaring is terrible, but yep, pretty full moon. I'm hoping while we're out here we will hear the wolves start to howl. Steelers, I am about to tell you a campfire story. But first, I think maybe you need to set your own moods for being at a campfire. So maybe grab a snack. I'm going to grab some Twizzlers. That's right. Ooh. So Twizzlers, s'mores, those are always my go-to campfire foods. And tonight I'm drinking Pepsi. You can't see it, but it's Pepsi. Virtual s'mores headed your way. Well, I'm really eating Twizzlers and I can almost not talk. Coca-Cola. All right, so this screen door installer had an appointment It was a chilly October evening, and the customer requested that he arrive sometime after 6 p.m. And being the fall, it was already dark. And when he arrived, he realized the light wasn't on the porch, but he could clearly see through the window that the light was on TV in the silhouette of a man's head. So he started knocking on the door to try and get the man's attention. And the man didn't answer. But being screen doors, he didn't have to go in the house. So he just did his measurements that he needed. And he left. The next day, he called the customer back, and a woman answered. And he said, "Hey, I was there last night. Why didn't you open the door?" She's like, "Because I wasn't home. Nobody was home." And he stated, "Well, there was a man sitting on a couch. I could see the silhouette of his head, and I could see the gray hair. I could see the flicker of the television." And the lady let out a shriek and explained to the contractor, essentially, that he had seen her father, who passed away 5 years ago. Where's Pookie? That was story number one. What do you guys think? Is it sad, or does it show that life does go on in another dimension? So these guys were part of a construction crew, and the construction crew was hired to renovate this old monastery and this very prominent, beautiful building. Kind of looked like an ancient castle or churchly, sitting on the banks of Lake Michigan. And they're renovating this place to make it into condos. And the architects set it up so that they could get perfectly 12 units on 3 floors. Excuse me, 4 floors, 3 units on each floor. So this was like a lengthy project. Probably they worked for like 6 months or so. And as they're working on the project, Joe, this young apprentice, kept getting blamed for like misplacing tools and like leaving tools out, or making like tripping hazards, like putting tools where people were tripping and falling. And Joe really like was pretty upset, because Joe really knew he could be like a really great carpenter, and he knew he wasn't irresponsible. Sorry, this is Twizzlers in my mouth. And Joe like was like he knew he wasn't doing anything wrong. and he couldn't figure out like who on the team was trying to sabotage him, who wanted Joe to fail. So one night, it was getting late, but they had one more project that they had to take care of, and they had to run some electric in the upper areas of the building. So Joe was up there waiting for them to fish the cables to him, and Joe hears, "Hey, stupid, over here." And Joe looks, and nobody's there. And he thought, maybe, it's been a long day. My brain is playing tricks on me, you know. And he went home, came back to work the next day. And on the top left of the building, it would have been Unit 403. The light was on, and he could see the silhouette of a woman in the window. And he immediately got on the phone and he called his supervisor. And he's like, "There's some lady in there." And the supervisor's like, "Well, don't just stand out there, run up there and, find out, like, did they do any, is it a group of vandals? Like, what's going on in there?" So Joe goes running in there all the way up to the fourth floor. He opens up the Unit 403 and nobody's there. The lights aren't even on. Now he really thinks he's going crazy. Between getting blamed for all the missing and misplaced tools, making people trip and fall on the job site, he just didn't really know what was happening to him and why, or at least why was this happening. So a couple days go on and nothing really happened, and Joe started getting praises from his bosses, and the project's moving forward, and they now ran all the plumbing, and they put together these beautiful bathrooms with onyx furnishings and all kinds of like very high-end looking units. And Joe was working on tiling an area in one of the bathrooms. And he was almost done, but it was 5 o'clock and everybody else was leaving, and he wanted to show that he had good work ethic and that he could really be a great carpenter. So he told them, his bosses, "I'll just stay, I'll lock up, no big deal. And I'll just get this done and I'll leave." And so the bosses agreed. So Joe was up there alone, working on the tile. He finished, it looked good. He took a picture and texted it to his boss, shut down all the lights, put his tools away, went home. The next morning, his boss got there first to find water flowing out of 403. It was flowing like into 303, and luckily it stopped before it got to 203. Joe was in deep doo-doo. All the praise and everything he got over the last couple of days was quickly turned into rage, and the bosses and other coworkers thought that he sabotaged the project. But Joe said he had nothing to do with it. He didn't know how it happened or what happened. So they put Joe on a suspension 3 days. And while Joe was gone in those 3 days, there was a tragic gas leak, and all the other workers were killed when the place exploded. I'm going to eat a Twizzlers now. Perhaps it was. Perhaps it wasn't young Joe's time. It is a beautiful night. It's about 61, 62 degrees. The temperature is dropping. You guys want to keep watching the fire, or do you want to look at the lake for a minute? Thanks, Can. And I just made it up. Oops, the wrapper missed. Thank you. Yeah, we're supposed to get a lot of wind today, so I started the fire in the barrel rather than in the fire pit. But as you can see, like, the water's not even moving. All right, give me like 30 or 40 seconds and I'll start telling another one. Are you guys ready? The first story was a true story. The second story was partially true. Joe did get attacked, but his coworkers never died. But this story is a 100% true story, and it actually happened to me. So, years ago, I worked as a paramedic for an ambulance company, and I got hurt on the job, and they sent me to dispatcher school. So I was a dispatcher in the time I was going to be laid up. So the building that the ambulance headquarters was used to be an old school bus garage. And in the school bus garage, there was an accident where a school bus fell on one of the mechanics, and the mechanic did not survive. A few weeks after the mechanic passed away, one of his coworkers was not feeling himself and decided to take his own life by hanging himself from one of the rafters in the mechanic's work area. Then there was a tragic accident out front of the building where a young mother and daughter got hit by a car, and the mother did not survive. During the day, it was a regular office type building, it's divided into segments. So on the right side were like the corporate offices, and the left side was like bunk rooms for the paramedics. And then there was like a storage room above another set of offices, and that was like the dispatch area. And at night, it was however many paramedic crews were working, that they'd either be there sleeping and one dispatcher. And so the office above the dispatcher is just a regular office with desks and chairs, but it was completely covered with boxes of archived run reports. So like you couldn't even walk up there if you wanted to. So I was stuck in this position for about 6 or 8 months. And the very first night that I was in the dispatch center, I had a trainer, and we're sitting there waiting for the phone to ring, doing the other duties we had to do. And I'd say like 2:45, 3 in the morning. So, and this is overnight, by the way. So 2:45, 3 o'clock in the morning, you could actually hear as people walking above you. And like I jumped out of my chair. I'm like, what is that? Because at the time I had no idea that above me was all boxes. It's not even possible to walk up there. And I jumped up and ran up the stairs, and all I saw was the lights were off and there were boxes. So there's no way anybody could have been walking up there. And my trainer explained to me that this is something that would happen every single night, almost at the exact same time. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, are you for real? And they assured me like 100%, like the first week I would have the trainer with me, and then I was going to be alone. And sometimes you're completely alone in the building because all the paramedics would be out on calls. You know what? The camera is hot. It's pretty close to the fire. Let me move it back. Is that better? Can everybody see and hear okay? Can I get some thumbs up or something on here? All right. So my training period passed, and so now I am doing my side work, waiting for the phone to ring, waiting to answer the radio. And I had like a favorite radio show to listen to because they did not let us go on the internet. We could only use the internet uh, for email or whatever. We were not able to browse or look at anything. And we weren't allowed to have a TV or anything. So all you had was a radio. And when I was being trained, because there was instruction, they did not have the radio on. I was listening to a radio program and it hit 2:50 a.m. It was a Thursday night and the radio faded and crackled like a lot of static, and then it started again. Somebody was walking above me, and this time they were walking in circles. You know, it was almost like there was a pattern, and I was trying to listen to it to hear what the pattern was, and it got like more intense, and I didn't like what's gonna. I have no idea what was gonna happen, and then it just stopped. Everything got quiet. The radio went back to normal. Everything was fine. So finally, a couple weeks go by, and the same thing's happening every single night. And finally, I just couldn't take it anymore. It was more annoying than it was scary. And I'm sitting at my desk and I scream. You know, I use swears. I'm not going to use them. Effing stop it. And it sounded like something hit the floor so hard. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, it could actually hear me. So the next night I came to work, everything was normal, doing my thing. 2:50 rolls around. I start to hear the walking. I yell again for it to stop, and this time I got smacked right in the forehead. True story. My favorite kind of truck, I don't know who makes it, but there's I don't know if it's a 6x6 or a 12x12, but it's a they take like F-150s and other vehicles, they extend them, and they put like an F-550 engine in them, and they're armored. That would be pretty cool. But I do like my F-150 pickup truck that we all rode in yesterday when we went and saw the Paulding Light. Please, if you have a chance, give us a thumbs up for tonight's stream. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the alarm button, and you'll know when we go live. I don't have a favorite semi-truck. I guess my favorite is the one that passes me incident free. I'm assuming you accidentally spelled semi wrong. All right, let's look at the lake again for a second. Sorry, Cam. Absolutely, sarcophagus. Saway is in the lake. Nope, it's just me. What up, Dark Yard? Why, Steelers? Do you see somebody that would, or something that would indicate somebody was here with me? Or did you see a face in the fire? Fords are cool. It is a perfect night. Let me go grab another log real quick. I'll be right back. Well, if you want to do something really freaky, take screenshots right now of the fire and you will see a face. Yeah, it's very chill here. Are you guys ready for another story? Okay, story time. So this is another true story, and it's the same time period as the last story. So I was working as a paramedic, and I was stationed at a garage, or an ambulance garage in Waukegan, Illinois. And the garage was like an old mechanics building. It had 4 garage bays, and we had 5 ambulances. One was a reserve in case one of the 4 that were in service went out of service. And that one was kind of parked in the corner of the garage with another ambulance in front of it. And at night, there were 2 crews that would stay there overnight. And when there were calls, we'd go on the calls or whatever. But if we didn't have calls, we'd watch TV and sleep or whatever. So one like on a certain shift, there was one particular person that would snore so loud in the bunk room, and I just couldn't take it anymore. Like sometimes I could overcome it and sleep, and other time, like this particular night, I just could not handle it anymore at all. So I decided I was going to go and sleep in the reserve ambulance. Yeah, I know that sounds weird, but when you work in that field, people take naps on the stretchers all the time, or even on the bench seats. I always say ambulances are like rolling hotel rooms. So I took some hospital blankets and covered the windows of the reserve ambulance. I made myself a nice little bed on the stretcher, and I fell asleep. Next thing I know, I'm woken by the ambulance doors opening, closing, and slamming, opening, closing, and slamming, opening, closing, and slamming. And as I sit up to look to see what was happening, all of a sudden I felt like somebody had taken a nasal cannula, which is the oxygen mask you usually see older people with the tubes up their nose. They were shoving it as far as they could up my nose. All the commotion caused people to wake up in the bunk room. They came running to the ambulance bay, and they thought I was pulling a prank on them, but I wasn't. Whatever it was angry. One of the most terrifying feelings in the world is having an unseen force shove plastic up your nose. All right, Steelers, let's hear it. Come on, Steelers, we're waiting. I have to move the camera back because it's actually really hot. I just felt it. So I was sitting on my phone and I saw a black figure go across my room, and my door opened, and my parents thought I was crazy. Well, shadow figures are a real thing. They're very bad and they should not be around you. Do you do bad things to make shadow figures come to you? Do you guys hear that? An animal was screaming in the distance. I think they're foxes. I, I think it's the fox when it screams. It actually sounds like a woman screaming. I like sitting closer to the fire, but the camera is feeling so hot. I don't want it to glitch and mess up like it did yesterday night when it got too hot in the sun. It is. You guys want to look at the lake again for a minute and then we'll do another story? And where'd Pookie go? She commented that she was excited about the stream to start and she hasn't been here. Yeah, you're probably right. You have a funny, scary story. All right, let's hear it. Thanks, Steelers. White or black? Usually, shadow people are black, like shadows. Late night by a fire years ago with the wife and her family. Her mom's got her feet up by the fire. My brother in law yells, "Mom, your shoes!" Almost melted to her foot. Thanks, Dark Yard. Cracking up for 10 minutes after he chuckled her shoes away, or chucked her shoes away out in the distance. Mom found the shoes and continues to wear them to this very day. A good pair of shoes is really hard to find. I want to hear Salwe's story. All the way from the 67th layer of hell. Salwe says this one is true. Salwe, we're waiting. As a child, I would often have nightmares about these creatures I called monkey monsters. It would get to the point where I would refuse to go to sleep. Needed more wood on the fire. You have to watch out for what goes bump in the night. They had a distinctive look. They were covered in brown fur. They had big round ears on the side of their heads. Their furless faces were the color of human skin. Salway. They had permanent smiles, gray eyes. They had snake like tongues. The noise they made sounded like a child saying, "Rawr." Monkey demons from hell. I disregard them as just a dream until something happened a few years back. I was trying to fall asleep, and I heard a child's voice whisper something in my ear. The only part I picked up was when them saying my name. Salway, Salway. I opened my eyes and looked. Then I saw the same face of the monkey monster I remember from my childhood. It disappeared after a second, but I know what I saw. I never saw it again, but I used to believe that they lived in my attic, hence why I was so afraid to go up there as a child, and still hear strange noises up there, like something scurrying and even sometimes talking. Yeah, but it'd be the best nightmare ever. I've gotten over my fear, but every time I go up there, Salway, Salway. Beware of the monkey monsters. They're under your bed, in your attic, and most definitely in your closet. Good job, Salway. Good job. That was a great story. Anybody else have a great story? If you want, you can start typing it and I'll tell a story. So this isn't too boring. The monkeys all stop and look at me now at the zoo after this story. Only the ones with permanent smiles. So y'all ready for another one? The moon really moved. It's way up there now. Oh, and I accidentally. There's three eagles, and now this thing's cockeyed. Steelers, are you still there? Salway, what did you do? Steelers, how old were you in that story? Permanent smiles scare a lot of people. Wow. You could write a story about that dark rides or dark yard. You could call it Plant of the Apes. KM, tell us a story. Mom in the shoes, scary as the monkey. I don't think so. Listening. So a ball randomly bounces in your bestie's closet. And it would bounce by itself. That is pretty cool, falling asleep and hearing the ball bounce in the closet. And opening the closet and finding it empty. Okay, so this next one, okay. Open the door and the ball would just be laying there. We'll look out for Sammy. All right, you guys ready for another one? All right, so this is a completely true story. I'm changing the names because it's possible that um, these people could be around. Yeah, I could make one of the dolls into a monkey monster. But that sounds like a lot of work. Trying to make fur and all. Yeah, a monkey monster could be a whole theme. Yeah. Do you know how expensive a Chewbacca doll? I think is that what you're trying to say? Thank you for your permission, Salway. But actually, I forgot I was going to run this recorder so that I can actually maybe make a video of some of these stories and not have to tell them twice. And we're rolling. So, this is a true story. I'm changing the names of the people involved because there's a chance that they could be watching and listening. So, I had this really good friend in high school. His name was Chris. And he could never do anything because he's always working, saving money because he wanted to get his dream car. And it was a Trans Am with a T top. So he missed all the dances, all the parties, going to movies, hanging out because he was always working. And he got this beautiful blue, I forgot what year, but it was a Trans Am with a T top. Well, it's hard to not interrupt the story when stuff is pop. Trans Am with a T top. And wherever we'd go, he'd show up in the T top now because he'd earned his money, bought the car he wanted. And that was the sole reason why he worked so hard. It was he really wanted that car. And it was an out of production car, and it was a real classic, and it was really cool. So one night he was on his way to pick up pizza, and he was driving down a 4-lane road, not quite an expressway, or not even an express. It was like a 4-lane road, top speed 40 miles an hour. There was a car next to him, and a UPS semi with a pup trailer crossed the lane, hit him head on, and he was ejected through the T-top and wound up. His body was wound up in the tree. Um, he was killed on impact. uh, fire personnel actually had to from the tree. So, like, when a young person passes, it's very traumatic for the friends that that person left behind. And so we wound up going to the junkyard, and we went and like took pictures of the car and looked at the car. And he had this like little rubber gecko that was on his rearview mirror, and that was still there. So we took that as a memento to Chris. And like, we were young and stupid, very, very stupid. And we decided that we were going to try and communicate with Chris. So we went to an occult bookstore and bought all these books on how to communicate. And we devised a plan, and we went and we bought a solid wood carved Ouija board and the matching pendulette. And there were 6 of us in the basement of someone we'll call Rob's house. And un we didn't know what we were kids. We were not smart. We set up mirrors around us. We had a white candle and a black candle, and we sat around with the Ouija board. And like I said, it was hand carved. It was from an occult bookstore. I don't know if that gives it more power, less power. I don't even know if you should believe in Ouija boards. But after this, I've never touched a Ouija board of any kind, whether it's Parker Brothers or a custom one. So we summon Chris, and somebody started answering and responding to Chris. And the spirit was able to answer questions that only Chris would have known. And there are personal questions that each one of us would only have known the answer to. And it was spot on. The board was responding perfectly. And finally, Chris's girlfriend asked the question, and the candles blew out. And when we turned the lights on, there was blood dripping down the mirrors. To this day, say what that question was. I will never tell what that question was. Steeler, your shadow people, how many years ago was that? And have you seen it since? Yeah, the fire did start to act up out of nowhere. Do you think it was like 8 or 9 years? Do you think it was like 4 or 5 years ago? 2 years? It's definitely creepier when you still live where something happened. Sorry, it's so dark I grabbed the wrong handle. I would love for you to tell another story. We're waiting Salway. Yes, Steelers was riding his bicycle with his father, I think just the other night, and while they were riding, in a bright white orb that they saw with their naked eye passed between them. Salway. Okay, this one is about another childhood nightmare of mine. This one fortunately never followed me into reality. Yep, Steelers, that was all on the same day. In my dream, I was visiting Disney World and I somehow fell asleep there, waking up after the park was completely closed. Oh, so this all, yeah, it's a small world after all. That would be a nightmare. I made what? Yeah. Hold on, guys. Let me take a sip of something cold. My lips are sticking together. I made my way out of the main park and to the parking lot. I then heard strange music coming from the forest at the edge of the lot. I followed the music, crossing the tree line and into the dark forest. I froze when I saw something horrible. Yeah, Sawe's pretty awesome with these stories. Head on a tall stake, only he had a long snout like an actual mouse. His eyes were popping out of their pockets, and he had a pointed nose. He had toothpick like teeth. The sharper to eat you with, my dear. No, Darkyard, that was Nikki. Darling Nikki. Goofy always does it. Sawe, send something. I notice an ivy covered archway behind him, leading to a widening path. I then noticed the archway said, "Welcome." Temperature dropped. I just had to put my hoodie up. The music was now louder than ever. It got even louder as I could see a tall, black, deformed figure running up the path, whatever it was, coming for me. As I ran back to the parking lot, I blacked out. I woke up in a room that was filled to the ceiling with dirty old plushies of Disney characters. What do you got against Pluto? Thank you. They were up to my chest at the lowest point. I trudged towards them, not able to see what was ahead of me. Suddenly, the Mickey head appeared in front of me, only it was attached to a body this time. Oh, Steeler, you saw it a year ago. Okay. Have you seen it since? Be afraid of at Disney. Then I woke up in a cold sweat, never so glad to be awake from a nightmare. Thank you, Salway. That was awesome. I think your two stories outdo all the stories I told. Well, now I know why it's so fresh in your mind, Steelers. it's very possible that your nightmares are indicative of how you ended up in the 67th layer of hell. Lakeview. Yeah, at least you're better than Stephen King. True that. All right, so I think I am going to. Oh, let's hear it, Cam. We're waiting, Cam. A reoccurring nightmare of Raggedy Ann and Andy chasing me. That's all I hate. Clowns. I only had that nightmare around the Halloween every damn year. Well, a lot of people don't know that the real Annabelle is Raggedy Andy or whatever, Raggedy Ann. Well, go for it, Steelers. Let's hear it. Sorry guys, I had to go get some more wood. So this happens every year. So I all was awake up on my birthday day. Oh, I think you meant I always wake up on my birthday day, but I don't feel like myself. I feel like I was a ghost. I was so tired on my birthday, not wanting to be yourself on your birthday. Oh, that this one day before, I set my phone on my bed and it was facing my window. Is this story over? Or are you still typing, Steelers? Steelers, are you still there? And my curtain was always moved when I wake up on my birthday. I felt like myself, so I didn't feel like I was a ghost. It ended last year. Well, Steelers, that is actually perfect introduction for this. I was a little bit younger than you, and this happened 3 times. The first time this happened, I was probably 5 or 6. And it would be just like any other regular night. You go to sleep, your parents tuck you in, say your prayers. And while you're in dreamland, you wake up, but you don't know you're in dreamland. And you think you're going to the kitchen to get some water because you're thirsty. And as you're walking into the kitchen, you look into your living room, and your living room is a cemetery. And then you walk into your kitchen, and you realize your kitchen is part of that same cemetery. And then your kitchen at all, you're in the cemetery. Then all of a sudden, the phone rings, and you wake up, and then you hear your mom screaming, Aunt Maggie died. I had that same dream 3 times. First time it was Aunt Maggie that died. The second time it was Uncle Wally that died. And the third time it was Grandma Ruth that died. And all 3 times I had that exact dream. And all 3 times I was awoken by the telephone ring, ring, ring. And Mama screaming. Saways are better. All right, guys. So what do you want to do? You want to watch the fire a little bit more? You guys want to look at the lake a little bit more, or do you want me to end the stream? Totally up to you guys. Honestly, it has really nothing to do with that. I blame Channel 50 and my mom working on Saturdays, and they had really awesome horror movies on Saturday during the day. Ask away, Steelers, ask away. But if you say, do you feel lucky, punk, do ya? KM's gonna have nightmares, and she's gonna blame Salway. Thanks, Dark Yard. Nice to see you tonight. Dirty Harry was the best. And hopefully Hollywood doesn't try and remake it. So why did I start? Because I was bored and the haunt season ended and I needed something to fulfill me until haunt season started again. And because it's my channel, I make videos of things that I like and hopefully other people like. And if they don't, they don't. Some of my videos have over 50,000 views and some of my videos have under 100 views. Yeah, Ryan Gosling. Yeah, it's definitely Holly weird. Well, you know what we haven't done? Let's go for a little walk on the dock. Check out the moon. Oh, that heat feels nice. Well, that's cool. Steelers. Oh, Nessie, if you're here, come get me. That would make for a great video. Sawai would love it. And I almost just tripped over the boat line. This dock line almost got me. Do you guys see the steam slash fog coming up from the lake? Or is it blurry? Yeah, I almost did. So, whenever I see fog or steam coming off the lake, it reminds me of a time when I was younger. A whole bunch of us jumped in a car and we went to go see the White Cemetery in Illinois. There, there were figures in the cemetery that were completely made out of fog and steam-like character, almost like puffy clouds shaped like people. Every time I see this, it reminds me of that. And when we were walking back to our car, we actually got chased by another car. And as it got closer to us, it disappeared, vanished into thin air. When it spun around like it was coming to get us, you could actually hear the tires screeching. You could hear the roar of the engine, and just like that, it was gone. All right, let's go back to the fire. Thank you. I do need to warm up. What if I drop the camera? I never drop you guys. I ran an extension cord out here. Salway started it. That's true. All right, so I'm going to ask again. Do you guys want to watch the fire a little bit longer, or look at the lake, or end the stream? Totally viewer's choice. One, two, Freddy's coming for you. Three, four, better shut the door. Five, six, grab a crucifix. Seven, eight, gonna stay up late. Nine, 10, never sleep again. Thank you, Sawe. I'm glad it made you happy, Cam. Sawe, did you get to see the new dolls I got? Thanks, Cam. Well, I've wanted to do something like this for a long time, and so I figured it'd be fun. Yeah, Sawe, correct. I forgot if you came in at the beginning or if you came in towards the, like, I knew you were here in the beginning, but not the beginning or whatever. It's all good. Pretty much, but I really thought that they were going to ask for a ton more money than they did. So I'm like, it was meant to be. I'm really at this point only willing to spend like $3 or $4 a doll because I've been buying the entire lots at different garage sales. But I need more than that. Like, I don't want to exceed my budget. But today, the ladies at the sale, I was actually in Saint Germain, Wisconsin. Every Monday they have a flea market, and they have like the coolest antique and weird stuff. And most of the items that I like are relatively cheap because nobody else goes for weird stuff. So like these ladies had like all this elegant stuff, and then they had these two dicked up dolls. And so I knew, I'm like, I think I can get these for a good price. And so this one lady's like, how much you want to give me? I'm like, I'll give you $1. And she's like, how about two? I'm like, okay, fine, two. And then she's getting me a bag, and I look down, and my favorite one was down on the ground. And I'm like, how much for that one? And she's like, $1. I'm like, okay, awesome. And that's the coolest one I've found in the longest time. And that doll doesn't need any work at all. That one's creepy AF. by itself. And I bet you there's a spirit of a dead child in it. That's this one.
You want to play a game?
There is no such thing as innocent dolls. They wait for you to fall asleep, and then they crawl off their shelves and play with your hair. And then just before you wake up, well, you know. Well, we lost signal for a minute. There's an owl hooing in the distance. Yeah, just Facebook. I don't have an Xbox. I'm glad the stream's back up. Thank you, Salway. Nope, no stars. When the moon is as full as it is, basically it washes out the stars, so you get one or the other sometimes. And right now we have all moon, no stars, but it is light cloud cover, so you can't even see the meteors that are up there. I lost you guys again. Are you guys back with me? So there's 3 people participating, but there's here. Who else is here? Say hello to your friends. It's always a lurker. You can see his eyes in the darkness and his teeth. So tomorrow I'm going to do a daytime, and I'm going to go to an abandoned cemetery. They did start to take care of it the last time I was there, but half of it was still overgrown. And it's the creepiest, coolest place you're going to see. Now, full disclosure, I haven't been there in about 3 or 4 years, so maybe it's all not overgrown. And we'll find out. My only concern is that there might not be internet connectivity, but I'm hoping there will be. If there isn't, then the stream's not happening. But we're going to find out tomorrow for sure. And I'll try and have a backup plan if we don't have any signal. But it's going to be during the day. Sawe, that's totally cool. You know, like, what the heck? The dead don't dance and they don't have Wi-Fi. But if they get the chance, they'll eat you because you taste good. Oh, that's a pro tip right there. I did not know that the dead watch Barney Fife. But you know, I don't even know where that is. I'm going to guess, is that New York? Barney Fife. Knots. He played the character Company. And my favorite character on Three's Company was Chrissy. Fun fact. Yeah, no, I never heard of that town in Pennsylvania. And most of the stuff I do is within 5 or 6 hours of my home base in the Chicagoland area. But Steelers, you could totally do investigations and things in your own town if you know of any haunted locations. Of course, you never want to trespass or go anywhere that's not safe. But if you get some friends together that have mutual interests, you guys could totally investigate stuff. That's crazy. My other phone just went flying off of the chair that it's on. It was in the middle of the chair and it seriously just hit the ground. And Steelers, you like You have stuff that I never had when I was your age. You have a phone. You can make your own videos, and you can take pictures of stuff that's cool. Like that would be really, really fun. I think there's a monkey monster here with a permanent smile, and he just threw my phone at me. And sadly, there are no new messages on the phone. And I got the biggest mosquito bite on my neck tonight, and I smothered myself in bug lotion. Well, if you all still want me to keep this going, we can keep this going. I'm going to move closer to the fire now because I think the camera cooled off. But it's getting cold out here. Definitely Steelers, and you want to definitely do your research. Well, I feel like for the first couple ones, he needs safety in numbers so he knows what he's in for. So I say the more the merrier. When he gets older, then he can venture out and do stuff alone. What's the middle? Oh, middle school. Gotcha. Well, I'm sad there was no Pookie tonight, and Doggy Girl blew us off too. But Salway definitely cranked out awesome stories. Salway, if you're still there, thank you so much. You really made tonight awesome. And KM and Steelers, thank you for your inputs. That's right. Spooky minds scare alike. I moved closer, but I did not bring my watermelon water close enough. So hold on a second, guys. Lucky 13's the way to be. Do you like scary movies? What's your favorite scary movie? Answer now. That's an excellent choice, Salway. What's your non PC answer? If you can't say, you can tell me telepathically. I can read minds, you know. Human centipedes. Evil Dead. And it's probably not on Amazon Prime either. I tried to watch the first one and it bored me. I never made it through it. I don't know why. Hostel. Well, if I didn't have my phone plugged into the charger, because I'm fortunate enough to have thought ahead and run an extension cord from the house to here, I would have a dead battery too. Hold on, come on. Spin with me, tripod. Spin with me. You guys gotta see this. The steam is approaching even closer. Good night. Thank everyone. Everyone, thank you for watching. Subscribe. Anytime stream. If we have internet, hopefully we will. And we're going to go to an abandoned cemetery. I'm willing to take that risk if it does reach me and I'm never seen again. It's nice that I was seen. And then your body starts to shiver. No mere mortal can resist the feeling of the Good night. I hope you have the worst nightmares of your lives. Thank you all for watching. E.G. Scary out.